Good morning, dear students, and welcome to the third and the final part of our chapter Life Processes in Living Organisms. In the previous part, if you remember, we spoke about movement which is shown in plants, coordination and movement shown in plants. We talked about different types of movement which plants show when it comes to growth. We said that is called as tropism. So we learnt about chemotropism, then phototropic tropism, thigmotropism. We also saw movement wherein the parts of the plants move towards water or towards gravity, towards sunlight, how the plant responds to heat, to cold season and hot season. So all these things that we had seen the last time was related to growth. It was related to the growth of the plants. So those movements or those tropism that we had seen the last time were all called as growth relevant movements. But now we will move on to the next part of the chapter where we will be looking at other types of movements which plants show but they do not affect the growth of the plants. So these movements are called as growth irrelevant movements. They do not help in the growth of the plants, but it is a movement which is shown by the plants. So if you have a look at this particular slide, the first picture that you see is of a touch me not plant. The scientific name of that plant is Mimosa pudica. In Marathi, it is also called as a lazari. And you must have seen this plants growing on the side of the road in your villages. It is a wild plant. If you touch the leaves of that plant, immediately the leaves start folding. Okay, so this is a type of a movement which is shown by this plant. The second picture on the right is of a Venus flytrap plant. Now this is an insectivorous plant wherein the plant captures small insects like flies, mosquitoes, honeybees, all different types of small insects. It captures it and then it releases certain chemicals and digests that particular insect. You can say it eats that particular insect. So this movement that this plant shows, wherein as soon as the insect sits on the plant will start closing and it will trap the insect. So this also is a movement which is shown by the plant. The third example over there is of a lotus. The leaves, not the leaves, the petals of the lotus opens up only as long as there is sunlight. As soon as the sun sets, the lotus flower, the petals will close. So this movement which is shown by the plant is also a type of movement, but it does not affect the growth of the plant. So it is growth irrelevant movement. Then there are certain plants like the last example over there, the white flowers that you see. It is called as a tuberose. In Hindi, it is also called as the Rajnigandha flower. It smells beautifully. So the movement which this plant shows is that the flowers of this plant opens up only at night. It does not open up during the daytime. So these are some examples of movements which are shown in plants, but these movements do not affect the growth of the plant in any ways. So these movements are all called as growth irrelevant movements. Now students, all this while we were only talking about plants. Now from plants we move on to human beings. And now let us understand coordination in humans. How is it that humans are able to do their day-to-day life and they are able to do it in such a manner that we are not able to understand how are the internal organs working? The organs internally are working in perfect coordination with each other and helping the human beings to continue with their daily work. Okay, so how is this happening? It can happen because of two things. The first one is called as nervous control, and the second is called as chemical control. Okay, when you're talking about nervous control, it means that coordination and control is brought about with the help of nerves or neurons. Okay, what is nerves, what is neurons, it will be explained to you in the further part of this chapter, but right now just understand, nervous control in human beings is brought about because of the presence of nerves or neurons in the human body. And the second type is called as chemical control. Chemical control helps in coordination, and this is brought about with the help of certain chemicals which are released by the human body. These chemicals are called as hormones. Okay, so just to repeat once again, coordination in human beings is because of two things. The first one, nervous control, and the second one, chemical control. Nervous control is brought about with the help of nerves or neurons, and chemical control is brought about with the help of certain chemicals which are called as hormones. Now let us understand what are nerves. Nerve cells, or it is also called as neurons. They all are the same. Either you can call them nerves, or you can call them nerve cells, or you can call them as neurons. Now if you look at this picture, you see a number of these blue things attached to each other, and you see those golden sparks which are present at the connection between those blue things. Now these are nothing but your nerves. It is like a complex electrical wiring which is present right from your brain to the different parts of your body. Right, you can say right from your head to your toes, there are millions of nerves which are present in the human body. And you can say these nerves are like a network of electrical connections in your body. So basically, if you have to understand nerves in a very simple language, you can just consider that if any of these wirings do not work, then what will happen? It will result in a blackout. Your body will not work. Okay, so the work of the nerves is extremely important in the human body. If the nerves do not work correctly, they are not able to pass on the messages to each other, then the human body will not work correctly. Now let us understand the structure of the nerve cell or the structure of a neuron and understand exactly how it works. Now your neurons or the nerve cells are very special type of cells, and they pass on information from one part of your body to the other. They are like messengers. They pass on information from one part to the other. And you can also say that the neurons are the structural and functional units of the nervous system. They are the main basic part of the nervous system. Your nerve cells are the largest cells in the human body. If you call a cell, you must have learnt in the 8th standard that a cell is very small and you cannot see it with the human eye. But the only ruling out to this particular thing is that the nerve is the largest cell of the human body, and at times it can even measure maybe 3 to 4 meters in length. So your nerve is a cell, but you can see it with the naked eye because it is quite large. Your nerve cells have the ability to generate and conduct electrochemical impulses. As I said, your nerves are like the electrical wiring of the body. So they are able to pass information from one part of the body to the other. And these nerve cells help in the functioning, and that is known as neuroglia. Okay, the spelling is there in your textbook. You can go through your textbook and see it. So the nerve cells and the neuroglial cells together form the nerves. All the information about our surrounding is collected by the dendrites. You see that dendrites, it's looking like branches. So whatever information has to be collected by the nerves, the dendrites do the work of collecting that information. Then the chemical process begins at these ends, and the dendrites pass on the information through the axon, and it reaches the axon terminal. So the information enters the nerve cells from the dendrites. From the dendrites, it passes into the axon, and from the axon, it passes into the axon terminal. Okay. The axon terminal of one neuron is connected to the dendrites of another neuron. So because of this interconnection, a very long chain of nerves is formed. So that is why, as I said before, your nerve cells are present everywhere in your body, right from your head to your toe. This forms a connection with each other, and that is how the messages from one part of the body reaches the other part of the body. And when I say messages, what do you understand by messages? Suppose you are walking on the road, okay, and suddenly there is a big pointed object on the road. You did not notice it, and you stepped on that pointed object. Now, what is your immediate response? Your immediate response is you will shout with pain, and the second thing is you will try to remove that pointed object which is now stuck on your leg. But how did you realize that something has poked your leg and you have got hurt? That is because as soon as you step on that pointed object, the neurons in your legs will pass on the information to your brain that something has happened to the leg. Okay? And when that information passes on to the brain will feel the pain. Immediately the brain feels the pain. And as soon as the brain feels the pain, a message is sent to your mouth, and you will shout because of the pain. You will feel that pain in your leg and you will shout. And then there is another message which is sent by the brain to your hands, which tells your hands that remove that sharp object from your leg. Okay, so the brain is receiving the message from the legs that there is something happened. The brain sends a message to your mouth that I have experienced pain, the body has experienced pain, so you can shout. And the brain also sends another message to your hands that try and remove that pointed object from your leg. So this is a connection which is happening, and this is the message which is sent from one part of the body to another, and this message system is taken care of by the neurons or by the nerve cells. Now the other parts of your nerve cells or of your neurons are the myelin sheath, The myelin sheet is a thin, transparent coating which is present between the axon and the axon terminal. It is a long connective part, and in between the myelin sheet you will see Schwann's cells, and where the Schwann's cells are getting connected to each other, you will see tiny connections which are called as nodes of Ranvier. Okay, so this is the explanation with regards to the structure of your neurons. Now let us have a look at the types of neurons. Your neurons are of three types. The first one is called as sensory neurons. Then the second one is called as the motor neurons, and the third one is called as the association neurons, or you can also call them the interneurons. Okay, so you have three types of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons, or you can say associative neurons. Now just as I explained you right now about the incident wherein you are walking on the road and something very pointed pokes your leg, the neurons in your leg which picks up that information are your sensory neurons. These neurons pass on the information to your brain. So the neurons which are present in your brain are your association neurons or the interneurons. Then your brain processes that message and sends the message to your hands to remove that pointed thing from your leg. So the neurons which are present in the muscles of your hand, they are the motor neurons. Okay, so in this way there are three types of neurons which work completely hand in hand with each other, so that this entire messaging system works nicely. The sensory neurons, the interneurons or the association neurons, and the motor neurons. Now let us have a look at the human nervous system. Your human nervous system is basically made up of three parts. The first one, the CNS, which is the central nervous system. This consists of your brain and your spinal cord, that is your backbone, the vertebral column. Then you have the PNS, which is the peripheral nervous system. This consists of the cranial nerves. Cranial means your skull, the nerves which are present around the skull, and the spinal nerves, the nerves which are present around your spinal cord. Okay, not inside, outside. We are talking about outside. And lastly, you have the ANS, which is the autonomous nervous system. This consists of all the nerves of your involuntary organs. That is, involuntary organs means the organs on which you do not have any control, like your heart, your stomach, your liver. You don't have any control over these organs. So the nerves which are present on these organs are called as the autonomous nervous system. Now we move on to the next part, which is the brain. The brain is the most important organ of the human body. In the picture on the right, you see this is not an actual brain. This is just a brain which is used for study by medical students. So it is just for you to understand how big the brain is and how does it fit in your skull. Okay, so if you look at this picture, you understand how the brain looks. If you enlarge this picture, you will be able to see the different nerves which are present on the brain, the different veins which are present on the brain. Okay, and how exactly it fits so nicely inside your cranial cavity or your skull. And on the left you have a picture of the diagrammatic picture of the brain, wherein it's telling you about the different parts of your brain. So basically you have to understand that your brain is made up of three most important parts. The first one is called as the cerebrum. If you see in this picture, it is the yellow part of the brain. The cerebrum occupies the maximum part of the brain, okay, and it is highly wrinkled and it has a lot of folds on it, okay. So that part is the cerebrum. The second part of your brain is the cerebellum. If you look at this particular diagram over here, it is shown in the green color. So that is your cerebellum, and it does not have too many wrinkles, it does not have folds, but it has ridges. If you touch any substance and if you feel that it is up and down, you feel those things is called as ridges, or you can say small bumpers which are present on the cerebellum. And then the third part of the brain is the medulla oblongata, which is the purple part which is shown in this diagram. That is the smallest part of your brain, and it gets extended into the spinal cord, that is your vertebral column, okay. So the three main parts of the brain, the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata, which gets connected, or you can say which gets elongated into your spinal cord, okay. And if you look at this particular diagram, you will also understand, we are not going much into it, but if you take up science in your later years, if you take up science, if you go into the profession of medical, you will understand that the different parts of your brain are related to different functions, okay. It's not that your entire brain is controlling everything, but different parts of your brain control different actions, different feelings. So that is what we will see in the next slide. So if you have a look at this picture, it's a very colorful picture. You will see that your brain can be divided into two equal halves: the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. Now the left side of your brain is, you can say, a very scholarly type of a brain, the very scholar part of your brain. The left part controls different things where it comes to maths, reasoning, science, forming ideas, strategies, controlling, accuracy, making decisions, understanding logic. So your left part of the brain is a very realistic part of the brain, and it controls maximum things when it comes to doing things in the right way, using reasoning, using logic, using maths, using science, using control, using strategies, doing things practically, analytically, accurately, making decisions. All this is controlled by the left side of your brain. And the right side of the brain is a very different story. The right side of your brain controls your intuitions. If you are frightened of anything, that is controlled by the right side of the brain. If you like poetry, if you like art, if you like drawing, if you like singing, if you like dancing, all this thing is controlled by the right side of your brain. How free you are with one another, the freedom that you love to live with, this is controlled by the left side of the brain. The right side of your brain also controls any passion that you have. If you like doing something, if you like doing cooking, if you like to play any musical instrument, if you are creative when it comes to taking part in dramas, in actings, and whatever you want to do, whatever you wish to do. You want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer. All this is controlled by the right side of the brain. And it is also responsible for peace. How peace loving you are, how much gentle you are. All these things are controlled by the right side of your brain. Next, we look at the spinal cord. Your spinal cord is basically made up of 5 different types of bones. If you see in this diagram, there are 5 different types of bones colored with different colors. The first set are called as the cervical bones or the cervical columns. They are from C1 to C7, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7. They are the cervical bones, and these are present in the neck region. Okay. Then you have the thoracic bones, that is from T1 to T12, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, T10, T11 and T12. They are your thoracic bones, and they are present in the thorax part of your body, that is in the chest region. Then you have the lumbar bones, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. This is present in the abdominal part of your body. Then you have the sacral bones, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. Okay, and this is present below the abdominal part of your body. And finally, you have the coccyx bones, that is 2 bones are actually present over there, but they are completely joined to each other, so we do not name them as 1 and 2. They are just called as the coccyx bone. Now let us understand the meaning of reflex action. This is exactly explaining to you how the nerves work. Now in this picture, if you see, the finger is touching a hot object like the flame of the candle. So you see that green line which is running from the finger towards the hand. So the message that the finger has touched something hot gets passed on to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, the message passes on into the brain. The brain receives the message and immediately decides what is to be done and sends that message from the spinal cord back to the muscles of that hand. When the muscles receive the message from the brain, it immediately pulls the hand back away from the hot object. So this is the way in which the message gets passed on from the finger to the brain, and another message gets passed on from the brain to the finger. But this does not take lots and lots of time. This happens immediate, within seconds. So that is why this is called as reflex action. Now, as I said, the second thing which helps in the control of the human body is the special chemicals which are released by different parts of your body, which are called as hormones. So this forms your endocrine system. So your brain has 3 important parts which are releasing special hormones which help in the release of organs. That is your hypothalamus, the pituitary gland and your pineal gland. These 3 are very important parts of your brain which tells the different organs when to release the chemicals or when to release the hormones and how much hormones is to be released and for how long it is to be released. So this information is controlled by the brain by the different parts, that is your hypothalamus, pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Your kidneys, in the stomach, in the liver, the thymus, the pancreas, the thyroid, the parathyroid, the testicles, the ovary, the uterus, the skin, the adrenal gland, all these different parts of the body has the endocrine system which releases these chemicals or hormones which are required for the growth of the human body. And in this next slide, this is a screenshot of your textbook which explains which gland releases which type of hormone, where is the location of that particular gland, and what is the function of that particular hormone. So this is something that I would like you to go through yourself and try and memorize as much as you can, because these are very important hormones and the functioning of these hormones is required to be understood by all. Okay, so with this, dear students, we come to the end of this particular chapter. Very soon I will be sending you the notes for this chapter. So till then, dear students, stay happy, stay safe. Bye.